It's early morning in Welwyn Garden City, and primary school teacher Sarah Dring is volunteering as a lollipop lady at a particularly dangerous junction near her school.
So this is where the majority of our children are crossing, and it's the area where they feel less confident.
A recent incident at this very junction prompted Sarah to take up her post.
Wait there for me, chicken, please. Wait. Take a step back. Good boy. And it was exactly here. A child just ran across and didn't make it in time, so. I was working in year 6 and I suddenly became aware of some noise in the background, and as I came out of the school I had one of our year 6 girls at the bottom screaming for help, and she'd been really sensible because she'd left somebody with the little girl, come running into the school to collect us and then gone straight back again. So she was really sensible and really mature, and I happened to be the fastest runner, so I got there first, and it was a nasty accident. Our year 6 girl was on the floor, and so it was just about settling them all down really and trying to keep people back until the ambulance arrived. She's fine now, she's back to school. It could have been much worse because it was quite a bad accident.
This incident near Homerswood Primary is reflected across Britain. With the increase in traffic around primary schools, latest figures show that 20% of child pedestrian casualties occur on the way to or from school. And in 2007, on average 37 children under 16 were killed or seriously injured every week on roads in Great Britain. With busy schedules and increasing fears for child safety, a lot of parents are choosing to drive their primary-age children to school.
We live at the other side of town anyway, so we would always drive in.
I don't think she's at an age where she should be on the roads just yet. She's just far too young.
The resulting congestion of cars around school gates is placing child pedestrians at even greater risk.
Yeah, obviously parents do want to get their children to school as safely as possible, and a lot do use cars. They feel it's acceptable to pull in for sort of 30 seconds whilst their child comes out of the playground, which obviously isn't on because it is blocking visibility for the children.
And at Homerswood, the recent accident has shaken the confidence of parents, and there's been a marked increase in those now driving their children to school.
Yeah, I think it has changed.
The only concerns really is the other cars, because they don't always look, and then they're quite fast around here. They tend to sort of fly a bit, so it'd just be the safety issue.
It does get very busy in the mornings. It's nice now that we've got the lollipop lady back, because we didn't have one for a little while. Now we've got the lollipop lady, it's a bit easier up there, but it is very busy.
The school realised they needed to restore the confidence of their parents and children. They embarked on a road safety week which would involve intensive training for teachers, parents and children.
The few of us that were up there from the school on our way back to school made a decision that we needed to get something in place, and that was as a direct result of the accident.
Some parents are more aware than others, and some parents certainly really help their children with road safety from a very young age. And for whatever reason, a number of siblings or whatever, that doesn't happen in all families. And I think that's why it's been important in a school of a mixed area like this to pick up and do the training here so that all children have equal access to those skills, and it's not just reliant on their parents, although their parents have a key role to play.
So how does the green man stand?
They've called in the local road safety officer, Chi Ming Lai, who is helping to put together the road safety programme for the school.
Red man?
It was a matter of sort of like the school were at the right place at the right time, in that they had something had sparked off their need for road safety. It made them recognise it, but they were able to, one, react positively to it, but also to commit volunteers and staff to actually help deliver the programme, because without them it can't happen, and it was the school making the time to actually have it in their curriculum.
Now, if you have a look at this picture here, okay, can you see?
The first step was to find resources for the in-classroom activities.
We got a huge pack from Chi of different resources. We did some work outside, we did some work within music. It's been cross-curricular really.
The school received free road safety resources from their local Hertfordshire County Council.
So there's a package called On the Move, which consists of an interactive poster, a sound CD, a big book, in order to guide the children through the theories of things like using a pelican crossing, understanding the difference between a rural road and a town road.
We're going to be going over 4 key areas. Okay, we're going to look at our surroundings, we're going to look at the children completed different tasks depending on what year group they were in. Everybody completed an initial assessment, so they answered questions about their current knowledge.
Now, why is the toucan crossing, apart from being called a bird, why is it called a toucan crossing?
And we incorporated some feedback sheets which went home so that the parents were aware of the children's knowledge and where they needed to practice with their children.
OK, children, can you all have a look at your Arrive Alives, OK? And can you all turn to page 9? OK? And it says using a crossing with traffic lights. Now,
basically what we offer is resources in order to deliver a classroom activity, in order to prepare children for a practical activity. They can't be mutually exclusive, they've got to be together. You can't do the practical without the classroom activity, you can't just do the classroom activity without the practical. So the classroom activity would be the DFT, Department for Transport booklets like Arrive Alive, which is the Junior Highway Code, absolutely essential for the children to know the basic rules of the road.
Now tomorrow you're going to be going out with a parent helper who is going to take us out and we're going to talk about some more areas of road safety.
For the next stage of their Road Safety Week, Homerswood enlisted parent volunteers to teach pedestrian skills.
Lots of hazards on this road. So who can tell me of any hazards that you might come across? Absolutely.
Parent volunteer Alida White was particularly struck by the children's lack of road safety awareness.
A lot of children don't actually walk out a lot, they get driven to places, therefore I don't feel that they're actually learning to cross the road because they're not doing it on a daily basis. For a lot of children, they haven't actually been out and done it on their own until they go to secondary school, in which time it's a bit too late. So I was very keen to come out and try and help in a small way.
This lack of road safety awareness in primary school children has been measured nationally. A recent report by Living Streets found that a growing generation of backseat children are coming out of primary school with little road awareness and are particularly vulnerable when they leave the safety of their parents' car and become independent travellers.
What the report found was that you're almost twice as likely to be in a severe accident between the ages of 10 and 11, that critical juncture between primary school and secondary school. That children who are being driven to school at primary age are failing to learn the skills they need in terms of road sense and streetwise skills so that they can navigate the road safely by the time they start walking at secondary school.
We'll see what we do with that one.
Road Safety Officer Chi makes sure parent volunteers are trained in teaching road safety before they go out with the children.
The scariest thing I've ever heard a parent say to me was, oh, well, they're year 6 now, so they can actually walk to school. There's been no thought about the fact that the child's not actually been prepared for that. It's assumed because they're 11 years old, they can now walk to school and walk to school alone when they've actually had no training at all. The important thing is to get the parents involved.
The parent volunteers were first trained in 4 basic road safety scenarios: car parks, crossing between parked cars, junctions and pedestrian crossings.
I learnt about the little button on the bottom of the puffin crossing for the blind and deaf people, and I never knew that was there. I learnt about crossing between parked cars, that it's safer to stand on the left-hand side. I didn't know that either. I suppose it's common sense, but I didn't know it, so I wouldn't have taught it to my children, but now I can follow through and teach it to my children.
The children were tested on their road safety knowledge before and after pedestrian skills training, and they showed significant improvement.
I didn't know that when you go to the traffic lights, you're supposed to wait for both the cars to stop before you go across.
I didn't know that you had to look right twice when you cross the road.
It's made me a lot careful how I cross roads.
Well, we've seen a change because the children report to us. So I've had children come to me and say, oh, Mrs. String, I saw somebody crossing the road the other day and they didn't look right, left, right. Or I saw somebody run out behind a parked car and they didn't check there was no one in it. So they're definitely thinking about it more than they were before. What we need to do now is make sure that that continues, so it isn't an isolated week where we're all thinking about road safety. It needs to be a consistent, constant issue.
Sarah also got in touch with the local cyclist touring club, who were able to provide the school with bikeability training for their Key Stage 2 children.
That's it. Just there, just that side of the white line.
I think the perception, it's like a lot of things, like the crime figures and what have you, the perception of the danger is much higher than what the actual danger is.
I've had a look, it's safe, get my bike in. So can you all do that? That's your first look. Have a look, get your bike in.
We thought that Key Stage 2 are the ones that are starting to go out in the afternoon on their own, and also we obviously have that transition to secondary, and so they need to be ready.
And on we get. If we look down on a bike, you go wobbly. So when you're cycling along, look ahead. Okay, have we all set our pedal?
Most of the children that we get, an awful lot of them have only ever been passengers in cars. So actually going out onto the road on their bike, this is the first experience they've had of traffic. Once they learn to convey their intentions to other traffic users, other road users, it empowers them. And you see during the week, their confidence zooms.
Easy. Get down to number 1. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
What schools can do with councils is again look at those safe routes in and out of schools, and there are lots of projects around where people have done dedicated cycle lanes near schools and made sure that there are some routes away from those main roads where people can cycle as well. I mean, we certainly would encourage people to cycle if they live further than, say, a mile away from their school, because it's a very sustainable alternative to get in the car.
At Homerswood, the Road Safety Week has had a wider effect on the community at the school.
And it's been a really good project in terms of building links and having parents come in and support that might not necessarily want to hear readers, might not necessarily want to help with maths and things like that, but we're really up for coming and doing the practical out on the street road safety stuff.
Do you think it's safe you go? That's the main aim, that the children feel more confident to cross the road on their own. I know some of the children that I've taken out have said that before they'd be too scared, whereas now they feel a lot more comfortable because they've been shown how to do it properly.
Right shoulder out, sit, beautiful.
That'll stay with them for life then, and maybe they won't be a car driver when they go to the shops. They'll get the bike out.
So what we're hoping here is that the school will do this on an annual basis with a selected year group, so that then the children are prepared for that difficult transfer to secondary school.
Bike.
Okay, so what's this red? We need to teach our children from a very early age how to stay safe when they're out and about. It's no good just doing it for 1 week of the year and then forgetting about it. So we need to keep revisiting it and encouraging the children to feed back to us when they're seeing people who aren't doing the right thing and not following the code. And I think that's happening at the moment, so I just want that to continue, really. Just encourage them to do that for each other.